Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine one single person whose choices basically ended the Roman Republic and created the Roman Empire.
We're talking about Gaius Julius Caesar, a general, a politician, and just an absolute force of nature.
His life is, well, it's a masterclass in ambition. And for you listening, the key is to understand why what he did was such a huge threat to how things were done back then.
Exactly. So we're going to cover his journey from a young guy in Rome to becoming dictator for life and really focus on the key moments that changed everything.
All right, so where does it start? He was born around 100 BC.
Right. Into a noble family, so they had status, but they weren't, super rich or powerful when he was young. He actually grew up in a place called the Subura district.
Which was a pretty crowded, busy part of Rome.
Very busy. And that's important because he understood the common people. His whole education was basically designed to create a leader.
So studying things like Latin and Greek literature.
Yep, which was essential for public speaking, a skill he mastered. But he also trained like a soldier, riding horses, using weapons. He was prepared for the political stage and the battlefield.
And then something happens that really speeds up his ambition.
It does. His father dies, just suddenly, when Caesar was only 16.
Wow, 16. So he's forced to become the head of the family overnight.
And that ambition immediately put him in a really dangerous spot. Rome at this time was split by these violent political groups.
And a powerful leader named Sulla took control.
Exactly. And Caesar was related to Sulla's enemies. So Sulla basically told him to divorce his wife or face the consequences.
But he refused and had to go into hiding.
He did. To stay safe, he joined the army and served down the eastern provinces, which was actually a brilliant move.
And that's where he proved how brave he was, right?
He earned a very rare award, the Crown of Oak Leaves, for saving another soldier's life in battle. So when Sulla died and it was safe to go back, Caesar returned to Rome and started working as a lawyer.
Honing those public speaking skills he'd need later.
Absolutely. But then he takes this little detour that tells you everything you need to know about his personality.
Oh, the pirate story. This is my favorite part.
It's incredible. He's traveling to study more about public speaking, and he gets captured by pirates in the Mediterranean.
So the pirates demand a ransom, which is pretty standard.
But Caesar just boldly tells them they've undervalued him. He insists he's worth way more than they're asking.
I mean, the confidence on this guy. To tell your own kidnappers they aren't charging enough.
And while he's held captive, he acts like they're his own staff. He writes speeches and poems and then forces the pirates to listen to them.
He even joked that he'd come back one day to capture and punish them all.
And it wasn't a joke. As soon as the ransom was paid and he was released, he immediately got some ships together, went back to their camp, and captured almost all of them.
He kept his promise. It was a message, wasn't it? Caesar follows through and he's incredibly fast.
A very clear message. After that, he knew he needed powerful allies to climb the political ladder in Rome.
Right, because you needed a ton of money and connections.
Exactly. So he forms a secret political alliance. It's known as the First Triumvirate.
This was a powerhouse deal. It was him and two other hugely powerful men.
First was Pompey, who was Rome's greatest general at the time. He provided the military clout.
And the other was Crassus.
The richest man in Rome. He provided the cash. It was, a perfect combination.
So Pompey brings the muscle, Crassus brings the money, and Caesar brings the political genius and the popular support.
And this alliance basically let them control the government. It got Caesar elected as a consul, which was the highest office in the Republic.
But that was only for 1 year, right? They had checks and balances to prevent one person from getting too powerful.
A 1-year term. But Caesar used it to pass laws that helped his allies and the poor, which made him even more popular. And after his year was up, he got the job he really wanted.
Governor of Gaul.
Governor of Gaul, which gave him his own army and a chance for military glory.
Okay, so this brings us to the conquest of Gaul. This wasn't just one battle. This was almost a decade of fighting.
9 years. And Gaul back then was huge. It's most of modern France, Belgium, and even parts of Germany and Italy.
Yeah.
He completely redrew the map.
And his leadership style was what made his army so loyal, right?
He was a brilliant general, but his real genius was how he led. He shared the same hardships as his soldiers, ate the same food, and he knew his officers by name.
That personal touch.
It created this fierce loyalty that you just couldn't buy. And of course, he rewarded them with the spoils from the wars.
And he was also a master of PR, wasn't he? He was sending reports back to Rome the whole time.
Oh, absolutely. His famous commentaries on the Gallic Wars weren't just reports, they were propaganda. He made sure everyone back home knew about his amazing victories.
He even crossed the sea to Britain twice. The public loved him for it.
But the Senate in Rome was getting very nervous. His power was growing too much.
And by the time the wars in Gaul were ending, that triumvirate, that power alliance had fallen apart.
Crassus was dead, and Pompey, his former ally, now saw him as a rival and sided with the Senate.
So the Senate orders Caesar to give up his army and come back to Rome alone.
Which Caesar knew was a trap. If he returned without his army, he'd be arrested or worse. They feared that his army was loyal to him, not to the Republic.
So he gets to this river, the Rubicon. It's the legal border of his province.
And crossing it with his army was illegal. It was an act of treason. It meant starting a civil war.
He had a choice. Give up his power and probably his life, or go to war against his own country.
He made the choice. He famously said, "The die was cast," and led his army across the river. And with that, history was changed forever.
Civil war begins. Pompey and the Senate actually flee from Rome.
Caesar moves with incredible speed. He secures Italy and Spain, then chases Pompey to Greece.
And even though Caesar's army was smaller, his tactics were just better.
Much better. He won a decisive victory at the Battle of Pharsalus. Pompey escaped, but not for long.
He fled to Egypt thinking he'd be safe, but he was killed there before Caesar even arrived.
Right. After that, Caesar defeated the last of the Senate supporters and returned to Rome as the undisputed leader of the entire Roman world.
So now that he has total control, what does he do?
He immediately starts these major reforms. First, he gives land to his retired soldiers, making sure they have homes and farms.
Which also keeps him loyal to his legacy.
Exactly. Then he makes it easier for people in the provinces to become Roman citizens, which helps unify the empire. He also works to reduce debt for the poor.
And he starts a lot of public building projects, which would have created jobs.
Huge projects. But his most famous reform, the one we still feel today, was the calendar.
The Julian calendar.
He created a new, accurate calendar based on the sun with 365 days and a leap year. We still use a version of it.
So he's popular, he's effective, and the Senate basically has to give him the title of dictator.
Now, in the Republic, a dictator was a temporary emergency position. It was supposed to last for 6 months, max.
But Caesar wasn't interested in temporary.
He declared himself dictator for life. And that, right there, was the signal that the Republic was over.
He started acting like a king, too, wearing purple robes, sitting on a golden throne.
He even put his own face on coins, which was a huge deal. It was seen as incredibly arrogant.
So while the poor people might have loved him, a lot of the wealthy senators saw him as a tyrant who was destroying their traditions.
They truly believed that no one person should ever have that much power. And that belief led to a conspiracy.
A group of senators, including his friend Brutus, decided the only way to save the Republic was to kill him.
And they planned to do it on March 15th, 44 BC, the Ides of March.
Caesar was even warned not to go to the Senate that day, but he went anyway.
And as he walked in, the conspirators surrounded him and attacked him with daggers. He apparently fought back until he saw Brutus among them.
And he died right there, at the base of a statue of his old enemy, Pompey.
The irony is, the assassins thought killing him would restore the Republic.
But it did the exact opposite, didn't it?
It caused total chaos. It led to more civil wars. Caesar's great-nephew, Octavian, was named his heir.
And Octavian was incredibly smart. He teamed up with Mark Antony, Caesar's general, to defeat the assassins.
But that alliance didn't last either. Eventually, Octavian defeated everyone, and he became the first official emperor of Rome, taking the name Augustus.
So Caesar's death didn't save the Republic. It actually locked in the transition to an empire.
It did. And his legacy is just, well, it's everywhere. His conquest changed the map of Europe and spread Roman culture.
The languages we speak today, like French and Spanish, they came from the Latin his soldiers brought to Gaul.
Even our calendar. The month of July is named for Julius Caesar.
And his name, Caesar, it stopped being just a name. It became a title.
Yes, like the German Kaiser or the Russian Tsar, they all come from Caesar. It became a symbol of ultimate power.
So his life really shows how one person's choices, from facing down pirates to crossing a river, can completely reshape the world.
He replaced a republic that had lasted for 500 years with an empire that would last for centuries more.
So when you study leaders, just remember, Caesar wasn't just a general. He was a revolutionary who knew the future belonged to whoever had the loyalty of the army and the love of the people.
Good luck with your studies.